was so it was so amazing to see that. You know, and I'm Julia asked me to see a story, an inspirational story, that will maybe uh, bring us together to who we are and the ability that is hiding inside each one of us. And those abilities are not going to show unless they are polished. And also, the how what a precious metal you are, it depends upon the polisher. And when our Rotary world, we call them mentors or people you look up to in your life, throughout your life. See, I was born in very small town in Lebanon, and I loved it, and when we were growing up, there is no TV, only radio. And I remember that I used to wait on a yearly basis for my singer from Egypt, because she would sing the most beautiful poems on a yearly basis. The first Friday of each year, she would sing one song, and I used to wait on the radio, and I hardly can even understand it. I remember when the first TV came to town, it came to my uncle, and everybody in the neighborhood, they would gather, and then they would bring my uncle just little food, whatever, and then, you will see him in a line at the door. So until the TV turned on, and then they would come in. So the kids, us kids, we couldn't get in there because there is no place for us to sit. So I remember there was a window with metal on it. So we will come early, and then we'll climb, and then we'll put our arm inside the window so we can stay on. And if one of us like fall asleep or something, it doesn't matter. Somebody will step on his back and then climb and take his place, because there are a bunch of kids waiting. And you look at TV, and you can hardly see what's on the TV. So the era that we lived in, my father, by the time, he had 6 kids, and my mother, 2 kids died. So we were left with 6. It's hard for them at that place of the country to give them everything. I remember we had one toothbrush for all the family. And that toothbrush, after a year or so, the whiskers will turn upside down, but we will use it anyway. But we didn't even have toothpaste. So you take the toothbrush and strike it on a ball, on a soap, and then you wash your teeth. And some of us probably will not wash our teeth for a week. So I remember I have one pair of pants to go to school. And those pair of pants, in the winter, in the summer, it's okay, on the spring. But in the winter, you have to wash those pants. And then there is one stove in the whole house with a pipe going in the middle of the room. So you got to hold those pants, or put them on a chair or something, so they can dry out. And if they didn't dry out, you'll wear them anyway, and you smell like mildew all the way through. It didn't matter. I have one pair of shoes, and when going to school, on the way back from school, I would go by a grocery store because I have holes in my shoes, and we could not afford to fix them. So I would go by a grocery store, and I pick up banana boxes, and tear them up, because banana boxes have some kind of wax on them. So I will cut the piece and put it in my shoe. And then, like over here, kids will show off with their shoes. They're putting their shoe up in the air, whatever, their legs, because they want to show off. I couldn't even put my shoe up so people will see that I have holes in my sole, on the sole of the shoe. So, and my mother and my father, though, believed in education because they were looking at some of the rich people in the town where their kids are going to school and people look up to them like they're gods on earth. I mean, they are like the kings and the queens in this community. So my father and my mother, they were illiterate. My father know how to read or write. My mother never knew how to read and write. Even when she came to the United States, and I had them here for 36 years, under my love and my, I held them and bought a house for them and kept them over here so they can, and they passed, both of them passed last year. But they believed in education. And I remember my father one time sitting me down, and I was 13 years old. It was raining and hail and snow outside. And we're sitting by the stove, and he sat down with me and said, I want to do a contract with you. Well, 13 years old, and your father want to do a contract with me. It was interesting for me to see, but I couldn't say no either, because, he's not telling me it's a contract. He's telling me this is what's going to happen another way. So, and he said, by the time I can educate you and concentrate on you because you are the oldest son in the family, I will not have the power or the effort or the health to get your other brothers and sisters to where they could be living fine. So what I want from you is to tell me that if I educate you and you go to school and you become successful, you will put your hand out for your brothers and sisters. And I said yes, because if I say no, I'm going to get the beating. So I better say yes anyway. So that's the contract. And it's amazing to know that I was 39 years old when I realized my father's contract, because I got all my sisters, my brothers situated in a good position, but that became a habit. So even though I satisfied that when I was 39, I'm 67 years old, and I'm still doing it because conditions are not the same. And what got me here is because of the willing of my parents. See, my mother was illiterate. So when she wants to sign her name, especially when she came over here, in Lebanon, we don't care, because there aren't many things to do, documents and stuff. But in order for her to sign her documents over here, we taught her how to draw her name. So she will know how to draw it, but she doesn't know what she's writing, but she will draw it. And she will draw it slow, one word at a time, but she didn't even know. And it's amazing to see my mother's memory, because people like that, they cannot document things. And I did not realize that in real life. They cannot write things. So they're going to depend on their mind to remember everything they need. And my mother had a perfect memory, perfect memory. She will tell you stories, 70, 80 years back, even when she was a child. But I learned to be human. I learned humility from my mother. Even when I joined Rotary, and I will come to that in a minute, when I saw what the Rotarians do, I started remembering what my mother used to do. See, although we were poor, a lot of times she will take some food on our plate, and she put it in a little box, on a little bag, plastic bag, and then she will walk it to our neighbor to give him some food. although we did not have enough food on the table. I remember when we sit on the table, my father would cut pieces for us, and this is yours, and this is it. And then if you put your hand out for another piece, he will slap your hand because there isn't enough for everybody on the table. So this is your share, and you gotta be satisfied with your share. My mother used to, somebody will fall, and then they will cut themselves. I remember my mother taking us a needle, which she will sew with it, and a thread, and then she will put them down and put some alcohol, rubbing alcohol on them, and she will sew their wound. I remember I used to look like whatever my mother has of material. So what she will do is she will take curtains that people throw away, and she will cut the curtains and make our pants or make our shirts. But she always told me, the lowest spot on the plane in the field gets the most rain. The lowest spot in the plane gets the most rain. And I said, what do you mean? She said, the more humble you are, you will get more, because it will come to you. People will trust you. And she always say, be like a fruit tree. Maybe the fruits, when they first start, they're high on the branches. When they ripe, the branches go down. And then everybody can reach them mostly. So be reachable to everyone with your knowledge, with what your God will give you. And that probably did not resonate very well until I came to the United States. And I got my BS degree, I got my master's degree. And I remember my first job in the United States, and I was going to school, but my parents would send me money because my father, he's keeping his side of the contract. He didn't have enough money to earn in Lebanon, so he would leave the family to Saudi Arabia. That's an understandable story to people in Bangladesh and stuff, because they do migrate the same thing even now. So he would leave and sit in Saudi Arabia for a year, 2 years, and work and send the money over to my mother or to me to get my education. But at the same time, I knew what he's going through. So I found a job in the United States over here. And then my first job was to be a valet parking, and minimum wage used to be $3.35. I used to get $1.25 an hour, and the guy would take all my tip. But I was happy because I was earning money on my time that I'm not going to school, and I will eat one meal at the restaurant. I'm going to go back a little bit in Lebanon, for my childhood. How did I finish my school? A normal child over here will have everything they need, shoes, to everything, to buses. We used to walk to school about 2 miles. And then one of the schools that we used to go to, I have to take a bus. And you got to wait way early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning to take the bus to go to school. But the difference that happened in my life when I was growing up is that Civil War came right in the middle of my school. So the school will not quit, although the Civil War is there. So what we used to do, and I remember 14, 15 years old, I used to go to school during the day, come home. My mother had a meal for me. I will study for about an hour or two. And then here comes the guys. They say, we got to defend our city. So I will carry my AK-47 and I will go to the edge of the city and I will guide my shift. 3 hours, 4 hours. And I remember as a kid, it was so frightening, to sit in the dark. You cannot see nothing, but you sit in the dark and you wait to engage someone. That's probably a story of a lot of young people nowadays. I was reading a story the other day of a guy down, a kid, 13 years old, in gangs down in South America. And this probably applied for a lot of kids in Yemen, in Iraq, in a lot of places that they have conflict. When I came to the United States and I got my degree, and I went through my experience of life before Rotary. I remember one time, and why your goals change and your mentors change. See, my mentor used to be in my childhood, my uncle, because he was honest. He would work hard. He would say the truth all the time. So that was my mentor. And my second mentor was my principal, because my principal was a great speaker. I mean, he would just take that stand, and then the foam will be coming out of his lips because he was so emotional talking about it. So you can see his heart pouring out when he speaks to us, in the morning and on the weekend. And he will pick one of us, every week to speak. So he was my mentor as a speaker, as a person who had that big image. And he was big. He was 6'5". So, and I thought, boy, this guy, he really speaks his heart. And that was my mentor. But your mentors change throughout the life. It depends what stage of life you are. So I came to the United States and got my first job. I got my BS degree and I got my master's degree, and I started my own business because I graduated from working with $1.25 an hour to working for someone for the minimum wage. But also I was smart because I knew how to fix cars, electrical, whatever. So I made a contract with him, and I said, I will manage your business and I will write everything for you. I want to pick the jobs I want. Well, then I was making $700 to $800 a week instead of making $7 and $3 and $4 minimum wage and $7 minimum wage. So, and I gathered enough money to start my own business. And once I started my own business, I didn't know about Rotary. I didn't know about these people, that they are not seen to me, until one gentleman came in and gave me his card. And this card, as you know, each card has his name and with a wheel on it. Well, I was in the mechanic business. So I looked at the card and I thought, well, this is a great opportunity for me. This could be another car club that I will make a lot of money on them. I'm not thinking it's a service club. I'm looking at the wheel and I'm thinking it's a car club. What's the difference? Rotary Club, Sam's Club, AAA Club. What's the difference? It's another car club for me. I didn't know about service. Even though I joined Rotary and sat in the club and, but the funny story is that he invited me to the club. So I go to the club and they had a drawing. So you have to put money, you got to buy some raffle tickets, and I want to be flashy. So I bought $40 worth of tickets, and everybody buying $1 or $2 worth of tickets. So guess what? Who won the pot? And the pot was $1,500. So who won the pot? I won the pot. So here they come. They hand me $750. So I'm thinking, Jesus, these people have money. So I put that money in my pocket and I walked out of the club. So, like nothing. I didn't know. I did not even know what I'm doing. So, but also in the meeting, and then I quit. I didn't go. So then he called me again and he said, "You got to come back. We like you." So I go and I sit in there and they're talking Ryla. They're talking RI. They're talking, some kind of language that I did not understand. So I'm thinking, this is a cult club, because they're talking in language I cannot understand. It's got to be a cult club. They understand each other and they're laughing about it. And then they're clapping about it. So it's got to be something I don't understand because it's all they're talking in language I didn't understand. Right? What's right? All right. What's all right? So, and then they invited me to attend an assembly. And one gentleman stood up and he told us what Rotary is. What do we do in the world? How do we dig a well somewhere that will benefit these people? A well that we will never ever drink out of it. How do we send a guy or a lady, young lady, to school for scholarship? How do we exchange people around the world and we meet all these people from all the world and we have fun and we serve? How do we assist women and young mothers and young children in their health and struggle? How do we feed people in the world from all kind of walks and make them feel comfortable and bring them out of poverty? And all of a sudden, my mother's love flashed in front of my eyes. I saw my mother in every Rotarian that she served in the world. And I said, because of my mom and her affection, I will serve sincerely this organization. And the opportunity starts. When I understood what it is, opportunity started and flashed into my eyes. And they said, you're going to be a board member. Well, I don't know what a board member is. Who is? What is this board member? When we grow up at school, we didn't teach us there is an organizational stuff, a president, vice president, a treasurer, secretary, board members. What is this? What kind of stuff is this? Oh, you gotta join us. The meeting will be at so and so. So I join, and I'm thinking, well, this is not taught at schools. It's taught only on Rotary. Probably that's the only thing happened is Rotary. And then I start learning things, what happens in Rotary and the things they do. Then they said, you're going to be the international director because you're a foreigner and we never had an international director. You understand international naturally because you're a foreigner. I said, yes, I will be the international director. What is it? What do I do? How do I do it? Well, you go on this website and then it will tell you, and this is this little description. Well, I start reading. And the more I read, the more I explored into the Rotary world, the more I see that I'm changing now. I am not only a student. I am not with people on the street that I see every day. I am with people that I never met because they work. They're successful. They're professional. You only meet them when you go to a meeting. And then they start talking about what we do with the young people. Oh, let's go. We have a race, soapbox derby race. Well, at the time, I said soapbox derby race. Well, that sounds like car business. I might probably pick a lot of business out of that. So I go to the soapbox. Well, I'm looking for with my mentor, David Coleman, and David Coleman was one of probably the best Rotarians I ever seen. And he got so sick at the end of his term that we had to go and meet at his group homes or health homes, or senior citizen home. The club will go and meet with him because we loved him to be connected still with Rotary. And I remember him saying one time, that affected my life, that how much people love Rotary. He said, and he was crying when he said it. He said, I pray every day to God that I will be healthy enough to walk into my club one more time and function as a Rotarian one more time. God never answered his calls, and God chose to take him before he did that. Then another mentor was in my life, is my governor was when I was president. And cancer hit him. And he was a great governor, down-to-earth governor. I loved him. So I went to visit him. And at the time, I was on the governor line when he was dying. He looked at me and he could not even talk straight. He could not even remember everything. He held my hand and squeezed it. He said, I'm disappointed with myself. I am sorry to disappoint you. I want to serve you as a governor. And I started crying. I said, these people, what do they drink? How do they get so emotional, so connected to Rotary? And he was disappointed that he cannot serve in my year and serve me and be my aide and be my mentor. And he's losing his life. So that's the feeling you get when you are really deeply in Rotary. And that's the feeling you get that you are serving people who are in need for your service, that are worthy of your service. And they say, why do you still serve? You have donated to Rotary over $4 million. Why do you still serve? And why do you still holding this meeting? And why do you invigorate your youth people? And why do you do all these things? Why do you travel? Why do you speak? You know why? Because I was there. I was once there. And I waited for all these Rotarians, people from Rotary, to come and help us in that little town. They never came. So I should be there when I have the opportunity. We had over 800 people working on rivers, and my wife was the chairwoman for that, and she's been preparing for that for over 8 months over the weekend. And over 80 people only in that town were Rotary. Do you think we are making a difference in their life? Do you think they're looking up to what they're doing? They care about the environment? When they see the mayor, 3 channels of TV, national TV, ambulances, policemen, trucks, trailers, every employee in the city coming to help. Yes, they feel that they are one with the community. They feel they are part of Rotary. Maybe probably they're experiencing the same way I'm experiencing. I started to experience when I first joined Rotary. But the difference is they understand Rotary. I love the Bangladesh, India, Nepal, that region of the world, Ukraine, because they hug, they embrace the youth, they bring them in, they raise them up like Rotarians, and that's why the increase of membership in that region of the world. And besides, they adopt a lot of projects that gives the people the ownership of having to help and care about their community and where they live. Yes, we helped India all along in the past. We helped Bangladesh all along. I traveled to Nepal and I helped building 2 schools in Nepal at least 5, 6 times to Nepal. More than that, probably 8 times. India, I've been in India at least 10 times. Bangladesh, I've been in Bangladesh 3 times. So these are the region of the world that needed help. But now, India is the 2nd highest giver in the world for foundation. Nepal, $1 million for annual fund. You see, by helping these people are so loyal. Bangladesh, in 1 year, I was a speaker at Arif's conference. 11 Arch Clump Society, 50 major donors that year. So those people are very loyal to the people who help them and to Rotary especially. I was in a meeting this morning with Madras, and there were over 800 people with Gordon McAnally, president nominee. It is heartwarming to see how the Rotarians embrace their leadership, how the Rotarians come around to serve first each other, and second their communities, and they bring each other together. And I say it fully, and I say it freely. I am number one. You are number one. And you say, "Oh, this guy is selfish." You know, like my mentor, one of my mentors used to say, "You know, I am selfish." I said, "How are you selfish? You're an Arch Clump Society. You go serve everywhere in the world, and then you're involved with a lot of things. How are you selfish?" He said, "I'm selfish because when I give, makes me feel good. When I serve, makes me feel good. That's selfishness." But I say it from another way. I am number one. And some of you say, "Why you're number one? I mean, if you're number one, then you're selfish." No, you are number one also. I'm going to say it freely. I am here. And around me is my family. Around me is my community. And around me is my country. And around me is the world. If I'm not here and I'm well, I cannot serve them. So you are number one for all of you on this call, young or professionals. You are number one. You take care of yourself, educate yourself. They say goals, set your goals in life and set your destination and yes, your goals might not exist, at the end of this year, because take Ukraine, a wartime, war country, for many years. Maybe your goals don't come now, but believe me, they will come later. They will come, maybe later, but they will come. So set yourself up, go to school, get education, and the most opportunities you're going to get in life and teach you the aspects of life is probably Rotary. In my eyes, is Rotary now. Although I am also involved with a lot of organization. I sit on the board of directors for the biggest 2 hospitals in our region, in the community and St. Bernardino Hospital. I've sat on many board meetings and board of directors and the chairman of high schools, and I said I was the president of the athletic association for 24,000 people, college, university. But that did not come from education at the school. It came from education that came to me from Rotary. That education of life came to me from Rotary. My father was not on a board of directors. My mother, for sure, was not on the board of directors. And they did not know the organizational stuff. But all of that happened because of my life in Rotary. So when I talk about my life in general and where my life is right now, it's because of Rotary. And for all of you, maybe the education you get, and I'm sure the education you get is the best weapon. It's better than my AK-47 when I was 14 years old. Because through Rotary, you can establish peace around the world. And you don't have to fight for it. All you have to do is be kind. Maybe the kindness that we have done around the world, the biggest act of kindness we've done around the world is polio. We have reached over 2 billion children. And those 2 billion children, they don't live, they didn't come from a tree. They have parents, they have relatives. Those acts of kindness extended to the world almost. But unless you tell your story, you do the work, you do the service, you tell your story, nobody will know about it. And we are Rotarians, we do a lot, but we need to tell the story. So today, my message to everyone, to all of you, strengthen yourself, absorb what you can, and the opportunities are vast. They say this pandemic has hindered our efforts. I can tell you what, if you have the will, you will find so many opportunities in this challenge. This is a challenge, and only the strongest will survive. But also, it depends on us. How can we help our elder or the more mature Rotarian? Because a lot of them, they're in an age that they do not know all this. How can we help them? You, the youth, you, Yulia, what you did in Ryla, Ukraine, and what you did to the youth around the world, and that's international Ryla, and what all your Rotary Act have done is you invigorated them. You woke them up at a time they were all asleep. They didn't know what to do. I remember we have 740 members registered at the first Ryla, Ukraine. Over 500 young people joined our meeting. We all woke each other up. We all held hands. And maybe that was the biggest test for all of us Rotarians, that we comfort each other throughout this, and we got ourselves out of this. Psychologically, we stayed connected. Physically, we stayed connected. Mentally, we stayed connected, and we helped each other throughout this whole pandemic. I remember the children from Bangladesh and Malaysia, and the way they developed right in front of our eyes in the youth exchange. And when some countries in North America, I say it freely, North America and South America, they were asleep. We lost 14,000 members. Guess what? 12,000 members were from North America because they were not connected. They did not connect at the right time. They connected later, but it was a little late. Some of them, they did not help each other. The youth did not help the older people, did not give them a call and say, hey, we have not seen you. I want to show you how to connect on WhatsApp. I want to show you how to connect on Zoom. I want to show you how to stay connected with Rotary. And that's when you spend all your life, 50, 60 years of your life, you do not give up Rotary. That's your role. That's the role of the youth. That's the role of any Rotarian who's capable of keeping us all together. the person you keep is not only one person. It's two beautiful hands willing to serve and a kind heart willing to give. And that's what Rotary is all about. I did have a PowerPoint, and I told Julia I will probably put my PowerPoint to show the opportunities. But I think I'm not going to put the PowerPoint. I think speaking from the heart, speaking to you, and I wish all of you would turn your camera on, because I want to know your face when I meet you somewhere in life, because good people always meet in life. Turn your camera on. Be proud of who you are. Interact. Reach out. This is your opportunity right now. And it will be an opportunity that you will never, ever miss. This is a lesson. The biggest lesson Rotary learned from this is they came together. They changed. The Rotarians are not known to change at a sudden. A lot of people in the clubs have said, this is the way we've done business for 50 years. What is Julia doing over here trying to change the way we do business in our club? We're not going to change. But this pandemic taught us how to change, and change quick if our existence depends on it. And we did. The board meeting, the trustee meeting and Rotary International will never be the same. Our meetings will never be the same. We reach more people. I can speak. I'm speaking 4 times today. I'm holding a project fair at the end of the day for 3 hours, and Shireen, she's been with us for forever on those meetings, and we connected over 400 global grants over two years. And that's the ability of one. Think about the ability collectively. How can we do it collectively? How can we help each other? A lot of the leaders I see in Rotary, some of them, they are not fully Rotarians. They joined for some kind of reason in their head. The true Rotary leaders will clown themselves 1,000 times. What I know, Julia should know. What I know, Shireen would know. Shireen just finished a global grant. We talked about that global grant 3 years ago. Right, Shireen? 3 years ago. And her dream, I realized. You know why? Because we still connected. We kept the faith, and we kept helping each other. So what you know, what Dr. Omir know, what Julia know, what Mary know, what Yuko know, we should all know. We be an open book, because that's how we are creating leaders around the world. I look at the meeting today, there were at least 4 people that I've known them for over 5-6 years, and they are in the governor position now. And you see, maybe that connection that we made create leadership out of them. Noral Kabir, he's been in my house. He became on the governor role. Vassal was in my house. At least 6, 7, 8 people that I remember now. They were on our house. I met them at the International Assembly or somewhere in the world, or we helped doing global grants together. They say, why do you doing global grants? You already gave your millions of dollars, go away. No. Unless we spend the money, we will never have peace. Positive peace is only established through investing our money in world and the humanity and helping the people. But a lot of people say, you know what? You're intimidating me because I don't have the money. My grandfather always says, when you build a great castle, every little nail counts. 60 cents will save a child from polio. Don't forget that. So every penny you give to the foundation, everything you do in your club, everything you do in your community counts. Don't ever think that you're alone, because your 60 cents is added to 1.6 million people in the world. That's over $650,000. Not 60 cents anymore, is it? That's who we are. And that's how Rotary will change your life. So, Rotaract, we might not connect correctly with you sometimes, but I can tell you that because of you, our Rotary service will never, ever be interrupted as long as you stay with it and you become Rotarians. Why did we help Ryla in Ukraine? Why do I go to Ryla, to Ukraine to help them in their first ever Ryla International Ryla? Because we believe in you as youth. Your thinking is different, but always Khalil Gibran says, your children are not yours. Your children are sons of life, and life never lived in the past. So we might sometimes be stubborn in our ideas. You are innovative, and we wait for your innovation. So today, I'm going to end with a little story about the two people. You remember the guy who said, I'm selfish because it makes me feel good? I am going to go into tell you a story about his wife. His wife was giving wheelchairs in a country where polio is hit. And when you give wheelchairs and to these kids and to these grown-up people, these kids and men, women crawl from under a tree, from under a car, from behind a building, from behind a rock, just to get that wheelchair because they got to get their freedom. They're not going to crawl again. And this one child crawled up on his little stick to Ruth Braswell. And Ruth Braswell, she wants to take him off that stick and put him in a wheelchair. So he kept holding on her arm and talking to her in his language. She did not understand. She called the translator and said, what is this child telling me? The translator says, this child is telling you to hold on a few more moments so we can remember your face, so he can thank you again when he sees you in heaven. So Rotarians, Rotaract, we might never have the chance to thank you. Your president might never have the chance to thank you. Your governor might not have the chance to thank you. But you know what? Someone will thank you, in this story or in heaven. So I want to thank you all again for listening for my broken English. And we look forward to see you on the path of service and life. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yulia, you are awesome. And to all of you, you are people of action. And you are peace builders in your own skin. Every act of kindness you do is establishing peace in the world. I found a little thing, and they call them, it's in a yard sale. So I bought it. It was 50 cents. And it says, doing good work pays little, but the retirement benefits are out of this world. Our retirement benefit is the pleasure we get throughout our life from the smiles of the children and the smiles of the mothers that we serve in our search and our service to humanity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Honored to be with you. And I'm looking forward to see you one day.
Thank you, Shab. And I think that our participants maybe have some questions for you.
Sure.
Maybe more about your life. Do you have any questions? Yes, we have Dasha. You can.
Good evening. Thanks for your presentation of yourself, and it was really valuable for me. So I have one question. Maybe you can give an advice. Which books or films or other sources are full of valuable advice for entrepreneurs?
Which book you mean?
Which literature are full of knowledge for entrepreneurs, maybe?
You know, I don't read a lot of books. I confess it, because when I read, I go to sleep. I'm an engineer by profession, so I believe in maneuvering numbers. That's why they keep me on the board of directors, because from numbers I can tell them the direction they take. So and as you know, engineers can create numbers. But when I read, I go to sleep. But a lot of times, the best place that I have seen to get the knowledge as a Rotarian is Rotary International. And if you have not been on the website, do it, because you can get every question you have in your mind. You can get it from there. But the book that really affected me that I've read in my life, it was The Prophet for Khalil Gibran. And especially what he says about giving. You know, if you have the chance, just download it and read it. There's a lot of great poems, a lot of great life experience in a really good format. I've read but I've read the history of Rotary. That's for sure. You know, a big book, and the work that a lot of our predecessors have done or have written. It is amazing, you know, to hear all the stories. But there are so many leadership books, and I've read Servant Belief, Servant Servant Service. So the leaders there are servant, not leaders. They do their service through the leadership through serving others. Green Leaf it's called. So that's a good book to read also. But there are so many books you can read, and the ones who are really happy to read books, you know, you can pick up so many great. So you know, I'm probably disappointed because I'm not a big reader, but life is the greatest experience, and Rotarians being the greatest experience that I have learned a lot of my stuff. So thank you again for being here.
Thanks.
Thank you. So also we have a question from Sophia.
Yes, thank you. Firstly, thank you for your really inspiring lecture. I was really pleased to hear you. And I have one question. So, what is your attitude towards people who live like all life learning lifestyle, who can easily change their profession just for, not really just for interest or kind of this? So, what do you think about such peoples?
You know, a lot of times we are prejudiced from the looks when we look at people. But when you start looking inside, talking to them, conversating with them, you will find out that probably your first impression was not the right impression. So do not judge the book from its front cover. Read it, check it out, and then you will find in every little corner. Maybe contradict yourself, but you know what? It will bring you to reality. Truth is, what we live with all kind of people. We live with your people. We live with older people. And we have to learn how to accept them in our life. You see, the biggest challenge for Rotary right now, and I've seen it firsthand, is to accept the youth in the leadership of their club. It's not for the youth to come to Rotary, because God knows we have so many people come to Rotary and leave. Okay? And almost the same number that we are right now, 1.1 million. We have over 1.2 million in the past 8-10 years join Rotary and leave. Youth leave within 6 months. You know why? Because the Rotarian in that club did not accept them and put them in the leadership or accept them as Rotarian with their own mind, doing things their own way. And with the minute we accept that people with who they are and the way they live their life, we're not here to change everyone or change their attitude, change the way they think. We're here to help them cope with their problems, cope with their challenges, and probably hold their hand to go to the second safe spot of the river or the challenges of life. We're not going to change the communities. We're just going to help the communities realize who they are and help them in their challenges. And that's probably gives you a peace of mind when you talk to anyone, that I'm going to accept you the way you are.
Thanks, Shab. And I guess we have questions more from Victoria.
Hello, good morning for you. And I want to say thanks for this amazing speech, and it's really inspiring me to be a member of Rotary, honestly. But my question is kind of informal. So I want to ask you about your background, about your wall behind you. It looks amazing. What is it? It's your own personal collection of something? Flags?
Okay,
Thank you.
Victoria, here what it is. You see, throughout my life in Rotary, I did not miss an opportunity to come to someone and shake their hand. I did not miss an opportunity to go to an assembly. I was attending international assembly before I was in the governor line. 6, 7 years, 8 years before I was in governor line. Even after my governor line, how did I meet Shireen? I talked about it a couple of years ago. It's because I was then international assembly. And I traveled extensively with my wife throughout the world. My wife, she's a dentist by profession. And actually, we're in a project with over 800 people. And then we're going to another project next month on the 6th to help Cliff Lips do this surgery. And she's a dentist by profession. So she will also work for a couple of days. So traveling around the world, I collected probably over 1,000 little flags. You exchange them with clubs. And I have probably about 3 or 4 kilos of pins from around the world. I did not wear my jacket today, but I have a jacket just next to me actually that has over 300 pins, okay, from around the world, and that's not all what I got. So at the beginning of this pandemic, so I said, why not show the world what I have? So I'm going to show you the room anyway. So this is actually, because I meet with a lot of people, so you will see alcohol, you will see everything. So this is our room. And also when we were doing the exchange with Bangladesh, this is where we cooked with them. And they were showing how to cook. So this is my room. So And as you can see, I do have everything in my reach. So if I want to change hats, I'll change hats. With the youth people. I change hats with the Ukraine hat that I got from Ukraine. So I changed it. I changed an outside kitchen to a studio. So where I can display what I have and do what I want. And one of the kids from Bangladesh, his father and him, they love lights. So I put light effects. I have a lot more light effects too. So it's just something that I thought, why not? Why not be myself? Why not show off? This is my way of showing off my love to Rotary and to the people who exchanged that blue flag and shook my hand. So this is where I, establish all these little things, and I'm not changing them much, but also those things behind me. These are torches. When I was governor, I gave one torch for the Rotary and one torch for the clubs. And this torch will go from one club to another, and they visit each other. And the Rotary the same. And this torch will stop at the district conference. And then people will tell a story about the torch of polio, and how they help, help polio eradication and raising funds. So these are memories. And I love my memories. I love the Rotarians. I love the Rotary acts I've seen. I love the rider kids. I love the interact. I love the youth exchange. So this is my love and me showing off. These are my friends, and I love them all.
Thank you. It was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. So we have 3 more questions, and now comes to Shireen.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, thanks for sharing the very inspiring stories about your childhood. That is very touching until how you become very successful and your hearts to do the community service. That is very important. My dad and my mom, they come from a very normal family too. It's about the same stories like your dad and mom. They are illiterate, but when my mom and dad happens to have the opportunity to study for the 2 years in their life, they went to the school, and Chinese word is not easy, but they managed to read newspaper after they completed the studies. The 2 years is to catch up the 2,500 Chinese word. It's not a joke. Okay, but somehow they manage. But I think life is basically today's your success of being a very good human, I would say, a good human being. It's all because it all comes from your heart. I think money is not really important in a human life. I will not say that it's not important, but the most important is that when you have the money, you're willing to spend. You know that what is important, and you know that where to focus to help the people. And you are usually empowering those girls. I know that you have been helping a lot of these countries, like third world countries. You have been trying to go there and reach them out and supporting them in education and doing a lot of good job. So I think today's here, all the participants are basically very young adults, I would say. I look at your age, it's like they are more like interactors to me than retractors. Okay, my advice is that life journey is a non-stop learning journey. You go to school, basically we say go to school to study, but usually you go to school to learn. Not only you study there, but you learn how to become a better person yourself. And you have to continue also, to expose yourself, like what Shep has said, he's usually a magician, I would say. He can mix with the young group, the middle group, the old group, the old, all kind of groups, like even different races, But you see, he's an amazing man. He was just a man who didn't thought of sleeping also, You can get him in the morning meeting, you can get him in the evening meeting. He was like, I don't know how many hours he was sleeping, but when we are running our youth exchange at night at 7 o'clock, he got to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning just to join us in the meeting. You see how he devoted his life for Rotary. I think, you know, next time, Sharp, when people ask you, what is your blood group? You just tell them R, Rotary. I think you have a R group, yeah. So anyway, thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to hear more from you. So thanks for inviting me. I really enjoyed today's session. I think the care, the empathy and the tolerance is very important in life, you know, especially you young girls, you know, you're still very young, you're at the beginning of your journey, you know, you just have to learn all these qualities that you have learned, you have heard from Shep, you know. Don't take the opportunities when you can buy a Nike. What it's trying to say is that no, when they are so poor, you cannot imagine outside there are so many poor children that can't even afford to buy a normal shoe. And our children nowadays are so spoiled. They're looking for brand, Nike, Adidas, wherever it is, you know, people are looking at the brand, you see, but that's not important. Important is not in the brand of yourself. It's not to brand yourself. Important is that how do people look inside you, you know, that is very important. So thank you for having this opportunity to share with all of you. And thanks, Shep, again. Thanks for all the lovely sharing and the stories that you have. That's really touching. Thank you.
You're awesome. Thank you very much. You know, it's the memory. I mean, Omir knows, you know, when I was in Ukraine, you know, we had a group and I'll text them the group. I'm going to downtown. What do you recommend? I will recommend this restaurant. So by the time I get to that restaurant, we had about 15, 20 people sitting on the table. And you think that I will forget about that? That's my memory that keeps me alive, that keeps me going, is looking at their face and them talking about their projects and me helping with the equipment at the hospital, and we connected. And then the friendship that we build is not only for us, because the friendship we build is benefiting others, because we do grants together, we do projects together, we empowering people, we create leadership, we create leaders, we invigorate people, we have fun, we laugh together, we smile together. All of this just brings us more like a family of Rotary. It's not only Rotarian Rotaract or Interact, it's all Rotarian, all family. And like my father, who made a contract with me that I will help my siblings to over the years. I made contact with myself or with my wife, and I said, how about one goal in life? To benefit as many people as we are living. To reach and benefit as many people as we're living. And that's why I chose the Global Grant and Global Grant workshops. Because in one Global Grant, you can benefit thousands of people. And it takes you probably 3 to 5 hours or 10 hours to write that Global Grant. If you are preparing to feed some people, you probably will spend all day and you feed 100 people, which is great. And I'm not saying it's not good, but I can spend 10 hours and build a Global Grant with someone and empower them, and then they will empower someone, and they will empower someone, and we'll become all ambassadors of peace. And that's how we establish peace in the world. It's through our act of kindness. And I would say, if you do an act of kindness every day, kindness become a lifestyle afterwards. You will get used to it. You will miss it if you don't go do a kind of, act of kindness. For my birthday, you know what I did? 2 years ago, I asked the 2 clubs that we're friends with and their sister club, and I said, we're going to take hamburgers, hot dogs, Pepsi, and whatever clothes we have and whatever shoes we have, and we're going to go to the park. And before we go to the park, I want to go on over there, and I asked all the homeless to connect with all the homeless places and invite them and come. And that's answering your question, Victoria, also, you know, if I judge people, how do we judge people? And we invited them all. And you know what? There were about 35 of them eating, talking to us, picking up clothes. And you know what? Some of them were very intellectual. I don't know if there's the speed they do or the marijuana they smoke, but they were very intellectual and challenging with some of their questions. So whatever it is, it was very inspiring and very interesting to talk to these people and, you know, and what they do and what they say and where they come from and how they become homeless. Some of them had houses, they have jobs, they have families, and, you know, things didn't go well. Drugs got them. And that's the worst that will do to any human being. So stay away from drugs. You know, that's because it will change your mind so slowly and consume you in the long run. Keep hanging around with positive people. Keep connecting with professional people that will help you professionally to grow. See, that's the things that a lot of in the school, they don't teach you that. The books don't teach you that. Reading some books maybe will teach you that. But my advice is hang around, feed your soul with good things, and good things come out of your life. And Shireen, you and your husband are also a banner of the service we do in the world. And thank you again for all your efforts for our youth. So it was a very inspiring thing to do with the youth exchange with you and with your kids. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Shab. And we have 2 more questions.
Okay.
From Nadia.
Good evening and good morning to everyone. I'm really grateful for having an opportunity to talk with you today and especially to ask you a question. So you know that there are many cliches about different countries, and before making a trip, you make a research to find some information. And so that's why my question sounds like this. Which country or which country's mentality has really surprised you and inspired you? Because in which countries your expectations and information that you have found, like cliches, were not justified?
Nadia, your question is very interesting. And then you are pushing me to have a preference. And I'm not going to fall for that. You know, because wherever we go, we are interacting with Rotarians. Even in our, you know, my wife and I, we have an agreement is that our vacations will be with Rotarians, because when we go to countries like that, we got invited. We had at least 20 invitations right now for countries around the world, right? But when we go to those countries, the thing that brings us together is that we have common thing, service above self, right? We have Rotarians. So those Rotarians, they take us in like families. I love the warmth of the Rotarian. Even in your country, in Ukraine, I love the warmth of the Rotarians. I love going out and drinking with them, smoking narghilis, you know, go to their club meetings. The youth, what they do. When we were at Ryla, you know, the youth, how they, you know, the energy from the people, it makes us happy. You have a smile that I will never forget. See, that's what we look for. I mean, you were smiling all the time in this meeting. That is the people that gives us the energy. Yulia, in all the meetings, she never stopped showing her teeth with a big smile. So So this is what brings us together. This is what we look for in every country. But there are some countries which are more affectionate than others, but I cannot see it. They all gather around us and they hug us and they keep us warm. They keep us warm with their action, with their food, with their drinks. Love to drink with the Rotarians. You know, I believe if it wasn't for alcohol and chicken, the Rotarians will die unhappy. So it's mostly the chicken meal that we got around the world, but the booze and the fellowship is I mean, we go to Brazil. I mean, you know, it's just enormous amount of love. We were in Mexico right now, enormous amount of love. Even on the street when we are collecting garbage and putting it in bags, people just coming to you and hugging you, thanking you and stuff. See, and that's what it is the love and the kindness that we the great vibes that we get from the Rotarians makes us happy anywhere we go. Even in Nepal, when I was sleeping on a bed made out of wood and straw, you know, I mean, you can feel every piece of straw in that little mattress. But you know what? The Rotarians were so warm to me. Although, you know, I stayed in monastery over there for 14 days, eating their food, reacting with other people, empowering girls to become nurses and stuff. But I look forward to have that little time that I sleep on that little mattress, probably very uncomfortable. The bugs and the mosquitoes are just attacking you from every angle. But nevertheless, the memory, I cannot pay money for it. There is no money that pays me for the memory I have. No, you know, and my wife, the memory she has. So don't push me to prefer, you know, to pick a preference, because you all are awesome.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Thanks. Two more questions again for
Okay.
Kate. She's waiting for a long time, I guess. Kate and Rostislav after Kate.
Okay, thank you for your amazing. At first, I would like to ask for you. I'm an ambitious person and I have a lot of goals and maybe ideas, but procrastination usually interferes me. Maybe you could give me some advice how to deal with it, or maybe you could tell us about procrastination in your life experience, maybe in the past.
Okay. You know, we all love to do what we like the most, you know, but also in life, there are priorities. You know, and my mother also taught me a lesson. She said, it is not your way of doing things, it's not cleverness, it's management. Not cleverness, it's management. You can add to it what you learn, but how is it? How do you manage? See, I come home sometime, and I look in the closet, and I don't have anything to wear the second morning. It's jeans for work. I still work, by the time. I still work full time. Okay. So with all of this, I still work full time. So how do I manage? Well, I did all my emails and my texts and stuff, but in that time, I took 2 minutes to grab all my clothes that need to be washed and put them in the washer, while I am doing my emails and they're washing. So now I'm probably going to go to bed. Well, the wash is done. So I take them and put them in the dryer. What is that taking me? That's taking me 1 minute here and 1 minute there. But a lot of times you say, okay, today I want to wash and dry my clothes. That could be done with everything else you're doing. So if you set your priorities in life, are you going to school? Yes, that's my priority. So that's the most time I'm going to spend on. Then I'm going to support myself. How to support myself? Well, I got to work. So probably I have to be at work. And you know what? Work is very important because that's what turns the wheels of life around. You have to have that livelihood. Money is not important. It's very important. Okay? So I don't say it selfishly because it makes your wheel go around. And when you give, you cannot pour from an empty glass. Your glass has to be full. You have to have enough money, you have to have enough knowledge, you have to have enough kindness to pour and give to someone else. But if you have empty glass, you're not going to be able to pour to anyone. So you manage yourself and your time according to your needs. Today, you do not need to be dancing all day or walking all day or connecting with friends all day. Maybe you can do it and do it briefly and then manage your priorities. Don't ever let the priorities lapse, because if they do lapse, they will not come around. And life is full of opportunities. If you are asleep and an opportunity will come around, and Umir is up, and Julia is up, and Kate is up, and Nadia is up, that opportunity is going to go around, even in your club, maybe. But you were not there. You were asleep. You decided to procrastinate and then not go. So that opportunity will leave you and go to someone else. So that opportunity is there. And I'll tell you about my life story and little story. I sit on the board of directors for 2 hospitals, like I said. In one of the meetings, this hospital gets a lot of properties, and they gotta, they have to get rid of this property and turn them into money. So that money will help. Talking about opportunities and procrastination. So now I am serving community. I'm not getting paid for anything, but I'm serving the community I live in. So in this meeting, they said, well, we have 6 buildings that we have so many homeless in them and becomes a responsibility on us. We want to tear them down. And tear them down is going to take $100,000. And we will sell the land afterwards for $100,000. So we will have $100,000 in our coffer for the foundation. Who made the motion to tear them down? I made the motion to tear them down. Well, afterwards, talking about opportunities and approximation, okay? So, and how it affects your life. Afterwards, I said, you know what? I made that motion, but I never seen these buildings. So I go down there and I pull in to the parking lot and I'm looking at the buildings and I see homeless going in and out on bicycles and all colors and smoking and all kind of things. I looked at the building and I said, well, there is about $500,000 worth of buildings in these buildings. I am in that business. I'm in the real estate business. That's what I do, and that's what I advise you to do. Real estate is probably working with somebody else's money. You are more successful is when you work and you can reach your goals when you work with somebody else's money, not your money. What I mean by that is by establishing yourself in the right way that you have enough credit to go to the bank and walk to the bank and say, give me $20,000 or $30,000 or $100,000, and then I'll pay you back. And if you establish yourself right, they will give you that money. So I said, well, there is opportunity over here. I couldn't wait. I was planning in my plans in my head, consuming me all night long. How I'm going to do that? I called the chairman in the morning. I said, so you are asking for $100,000 at the end? I said, yes. That's what they want to get, right? I said, how about if I purchase those buildings for $100,000 and donate $20,000 for the foundation? Said, give me about 15 minutes so I can talk with headquarters. In 15 minutes, he called me and said, okay, how can you do it? I said, in 10 days, I'll do it. I called my bank. See, you're hearing what I'm saying, Kate? I called my bank. I have a credit line for $500,000. I don't have the money, but I have a credit line. I have some money, but I have a credit line. I said, could you pay for this piece of land? I said, yes. They paid for it. I came up with $20,000 to give the foundation. I called the bank again and I said, after they paid for it, now listen, I am not using my money now. Okay, not using my money yet. The bank gave from my credit line the money. So I called them after a month. I closed the deal. I said, would you finance them so I can rehab them? But yeah, we'll give you $235,000 without any appraisal, because we look at the buildings and they're worth over $500,000, so we'll give you half the money. Got the money. I finished them. Put them when we finished them, we leased them. The bank came in and said, we will give you $1 million right now because you have finished project and all lease. Well, listen, and they were $2 million. Well, listen, Kate. I started serving on a board of directors. I was not sitting down. I was not sleeping. I was helping community. Opportunity come, I'm there. I grabbed the opportunity. What it did do, it gives me more livelihood in livelihood in my life. And what the lesson out of this is, I was serving others. And God looks at me and says, you serving well, there is a gift for you. But if I wasn't there, I was vaccinating and I was home, sleeping, or I didn't attend that meeting, I will not get that. So there are a lot of little things in life that the opportunities are there and it's waiting for you. Don't vaccinate in your life. Do it. We're very expandable. This opportunity, this pandemic showed us how to be real expandable, how to be creative, how to be innovative. And the people who are innovative and there, they got the most out of it. I probably know more than 10,000 Rotarians through this pandemic. I met more Rotarians in this pandemic, more youth people in this pandemic, connected with more people than in my life, my Rotary life. I can say it freely. How would I know you? How would I meet you? And this is an opportunity for a lot of women in the world too. Because the future of Rotary is in you. 48% of the Rotary Act are women. 22% of the Rotarian around the world is women. A lot of women, I attended this club today in this district, they have 18%. Next year are women presidents. 18%. They're president. That doesn't happen very often in India. Okay? So there are so many opportunities for you. Keep it up. We're gonna watch you now. We're gonna wake you up all the time. No approximation. We all love you.
Okay, thank you for your answer and for your advice.
Thank you.
Thanks. And we have our last question from Rostislav. And I remember on the first meeting, you were talking, Lars, that you want to visit USA. Yes.
Yeah,
You put this picture.
yeah.
Yeah. And now you have an opportunity to talk to
Um,
American
I
Dutch.
have another question. You said that education is like a power, but when you're young, sometimes you can't know clearly your goals and what you want to do. So how to find my own way?
See, I did not get my master's degree until I was 30 years old. Live answer to your question. War has taken me away for 6 years, okay, in my life. But I made the contract with my father that I will become an engineer and I will help my family. So if you set your goals and you say, I'm going to do it, no matter what the circumstances come around you, as long as you do not forget that this is what you want to do. And you said, you know, the circumstances change. There are a lot of variables in life that come to your life and affects the way you think, the way you act. You don't have money, you have to do differently. The way the finances, the way the people you hang around, you miss those a lot of things. But as long as you have it in your mind that I'm going to be this one, or you draw that picture in your mind, this is who I want to be. I want to be that pilot. I want to be that doctor. I want to be that lawyer. And you start learning about that and the benefits from it. And Omir is a doctor at a very young age. He did not lose that concentration. He was very focused. I was not focused, but the circumstances didn't get me focused. So whatever your circumstances are, try to overcome all of that. Try to hang around the right people, try to get the right information, the right advice, and always, always, always connect with people who are better than you. Don't you ever think that you're better than anyone. Like I said, the more humble you are, the more you're lower to the ground. Like my mother always says, the lowest point of the plane gets the more strain. The more humble you are, the more knowledge you get. I learned a lot from Yulia. I learned a lot from Amir when I was in Ukraine. I learned a lot from Shireen. I learned a lot from you, your technology habits. Look at I would be in a meeting and all this older men, or I would say mature Rotarians, and they will tell him, unmute. And then he's going like this and like that and like this and like that and then everywhere. And he can't freaking unmute. And all of a sudden I see this young guy just reach out and hit the button. And this mature Rotarian is so smiling. And he unmute and he's talking. See, we all need each other to succeed. You know, don't look at anyone around you as deterring your energy. Look at them, even if they are negative, even if they are thieves, learn not to become thieves. If they're druggy, learn not to become a druggie. Take a lesson from them. So look at the silver lining in all the clouds. You know, these challenges taught us how to stay positive and stay away from the negative things, because there's so many negative things. You turn the TV on, and oh my God, it's all negative. So how do you stay positive in a pandemic like this? State of mind, connect with people who are positive, Look at these smiles on this screen. That's the people you want to connect with, and you want to stay friends with. And that will give you the best state of mind to keep focused. And thank you for being here today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shab. So I guess our today's meeting comes to the end, but we have to put the photo. So please put your cameras, and you can also put reactions, and I will make print screen. I hope I'm good in this techniques.
Whoever is still awake, yeah, put the camera on. I want to take a screenshot too. So
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and today those guys who waited till the end, you're great. And I wanted to tell that these participants of BVI, they didn't know a lot about Rotary and Rotaract, because we were more focused on like stories of our speakers' life stories. But after your presentation, I think that they got interested about our community, about our clubs, that they are all around the world. And for example, for me, I'm just simple girl, like 21 years old, but I know a person from USA, and I just can contact him and say, hello, Shab, what are you doing? Do you want to join the meeting? And it's just me. And Shab is like the great person in USA. And the same, this opportunities comes when, for example, the girl from Poland yesterday just phoned me and say, we are coming to Lviv the next week. Can we meet together as Rotaract? And we're also planning a trip to Budapest soon. So it's all about this getting each other, knowing each other. And when you say someone that you are from Rotaract or Rotary, they know that you are a truly good person, and they can help you with everything. Yes. So thank you, Shab, and that you woke up early to spend some time with us. Thank you also, Shireen, and all the participants. And on the next Tuesday, we have our last session, and we will have more information about our prom evening. So we'll wait for the next session, and thank you, and have a lovely evening all. So
Well,
bye.
I did have, this is my meter of fun today. So
Fantastic. Great.
okay, that's my meter of fun. So I had fun, and Kate, that's not vaccination. You always have to have fun in your life. I had a lot of fun with you today. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So see you next week. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.